Hey you guys, what is up? It is Drew and we're back with another amazing video. Today we are going to be changing the oil pump gears on my 2011 Mustang GT. So, like I said, we are going to be changing the oil pump gears on my 2011 Mustang. And if you guys don't know, it comes with the Coyote engine. So a lot of people that may not know this, with Coyote engines, the oil pump gears are one of the, what would I say, like weak point of the engine. So it is like one of those things that you'd always want to change, especially if you're looking for making above 600 horsepower, which right now I'm currently at 662 horsepower last time I dynoed it. So that is the reason why, now that it is a chilly January and I'm currently not driving the car, that is why I'm doing the oil pump gears. Now, I'm not a mechanic by any means, so it's not going to be like a how-to video. I'm just going to show you guys the process that I go through. I'm honestly going to be just watching a YouTube video tutorial on the first gen Coyote Mustang oil pump gear change. I'll link the video to the one that I'll be watching. So if you guys are interested in getting a step-by-step process, you guys can also see that. So let's get started. One thing that I forgot to mention is the oil pump gears that I decided to go with, which is from a company called Boundary Engineering. I know there's a bunch of other companies that also make oil pump gears for Coyote Mustangs, but the ones that I was recommended to by my personal tuner and shops, and just asking around, doing some research, it was definitely Boundary Engineering had the best oil pump gears. I'll be adding a link to the oil pump gears and crank sprockets that I personally bought down in the description below if you guys are planning on doing this project yourselves. But let's just explain right here. So first thing, obviously, that I still have to do is I have to remove all these reservoirs, drain the coolant, obviously remove the radiators just to gain some more space so I can access and remove some of these pulleys, belts, all the good stuff. And then once all that's done, obviously I have to remove the cam covers on both sides, and then that will give me access to the front engine cover bolts so that I can remove that off of the front. Then after that, obviously it's a different timing sequence for different generation Coyote engines, but then you gotta put the camshafts in a neutral position and then take off the camshaft, I believe, on the driver's side first, and then do the process for the passenger side. You gotta set it at a neutral position, then take off the cams. It's a whole big process. I'll be showing you guys how it looks step by step. And then after that, you should have these crank sprocket and oil pump gears right there. And then obviously there, we'll be replacing them with the new billet steel ones. Yeah, and also add this part in. If you guys are wondering what happened to the supercharger, because it is not necessary to remove your supercharger if you have one to do the oil pump gears. What I'm doing right now is I'm currently getting it painted, so we'll see how that looks once it's all done and finished. So if you guys were wondering where the supercharger was and why all this was disassembled, that is why. Now I have removed the valve covers, exposing the cams. Then with that being said, you obviously have to drain the radiators to remove these reserve tanks. And then obviously you have to remove the radiators and fan to give you some more space. Then once that's all done, you gotta remove all the radiator hoses that are connected to the engine. And then obviously all the belts and pulleys and all that good stuff in order to remove the front engine cover. And what that will do is give you access to then move and the camshafts to then set them at a neutral position, so then that you can remove them, so that the chains may be able to be removed, and then replace the oil pumps. This is the process so far. Have all the pulleys and everything out. Now it's just removing some bolts down here. Obviously all the bolts are around the whole cover, and then all this will come off, and then you'll have your cam chains and everything like that. Then yeah, just gotta, you know, set your keyway up and all that, steps like that. Now taking a look here at the timing chain cover removed, you are now able to see the driver's side and passenger side timing chains and camshafts exposed. Right here we have the tensioners and the guide chains. Right here you have to do the specific process with Gen 1 Coyotes with keeping the 9 o'clock position and also 12 o'clock position in order to remove specific side passenger side camshafts and the driver side camshafts. This is specific towards different Gen 1 and Gen 2 Coyotes. I believe with Gen 3 and Gen 2 it's very similar, but for Gen 1 it is definitely different, and you have to follow those instructions in order to do it right. Now taking a look here at the factory style oil pump gears, everything is still in good condition. Obviously nothing has blown up or cracked, and for a high mileage engine this is in very good condition actually, but just because, like I said, I am running with 600 horsepower, this is a weak point, so it is definitely an area that I wanted to change. And here's just taking a look at the engine block without the oil pump gear setup, and you just have the timing chains and everything exposed. Moving forward here, now we have the whole oil pump gear set up, cleaned up, and ready to go. Now what I'm just going to be doing here is just putting a bit of oil. You don't have to soak it or anything like that, but you just want to make sure that there is a good layer of oil with the oil pump gears and the housing, just so that there's no friction with any of the metals upon first startup or anything like that. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to drown or drench these oil pump gears in oil, but you just want to make sure that you are being a little generous with the oil. Keep in mind this is the oil pump gears and they are meant to be practically submerged in oil as your engine's running. And now finally installing the oil pump gears, you just want to rotate them, make sure that there is no interference or clearance issues along with the oil pump gears. Although that they are coming from a very good company, you just want to double check and make sure that all the clearances and everything like that is up to spec, and that there feels to be no resistance in between any of the rotations of the oil pump gears. And now just finally grabbing the cover to these oil pump gear casing. Right now I'm just adding a bit of engine oil just so that there is a layer of oil in between the oil pump gears and the actual cover, just so that there's reduced friction upon first startup. Right, or you can be a little bit generous on here. Like I said, you don't have to soak it or anything like that, but just don't be shy with the oil on this part. And now finally wrapping up this whole oil pump gear change. Right here I'm just tightening down the bolts, and you just want to make sure you are torquing these down to spec and every bolt in the engine case. And you just want to make sure that you follow the timing procedure for your specific generation Coyote, and after that everything should be just putting things back together and you should be good to go.